Hello, this is Beth Bador, the kidney goddess. And today, for our topic on September 6th, 2022, is kidney donations and funding. So, I don't know how much all of you kidney angels out there know a lot about how to go about getting a kidney for a kidney transplant, a live kidney, and how much they know about funding, how to get funding for a new kidney. In my state, in most of the hospitals I went to with transplant centers to try to get on the list, they told me that in order to get on the list, I needed to show proof that I had five to $8,000 in savings to be able to afford my medical expenses and my medication after I received the kidney to care for the kidney. So then there's that. So first, let's talk about donation of a kidney. Trying to get a live donor to say yes to giving their kidney to you. Some of the places suggest that that's called a big ask, and it is a huge ask. Think about it. You're asking somebody who you may know or you may not know to go to the hospital to get their kidney taken out and put it in your body, right? That's a huge deal. And then there's something called a pair exchange. Now, with the pair exchange, you do not have to have the same blood type to get a kidney. So let's say you have two people over here and two people over here. And these two people, the recipient and the giver, don't match. But when they flip-flop and they share the space, four people are happy. They flip-flop and the two people that match get together and the other two people get together and match. Now you might go, wow, how is that going to work? Because let's see these two people go through the surgery. What happens if somebody over here reneges at the last minute? What they do, no matter where these people are in the States, they make sure that they're getting their new kidney around the same time. Might not be at the same hospital, but at the same time. So nobody can really step out and say, no, I've decided I'm not going to do this. So then there's that. So it's good to know your blood type, and it's good to know what you match with and know that there's another option if you don't match. So what they generally suggest is when you're looking for a kidney, go to your family members first that you can ask. Because most likely if they are within your relatives, your relatives that are by genetics, let's say, it's not somebody who's adopted, right? That those are the best chances of being a match to you, because it's not only your blood type, but there's other factors that go in to make sure that it's the right blood and the right kidney for you. So you go and you ask. How do you ask, right? Well, I just come right out and say it. I need a kidney. Is it something that we can talk about? And would you be willing to talk about donating your kidney? Now, that's with family and friends. Now, if it's strangers that I meet out in the community, I have a different approach. And that approach is with a little bit of light levity, let's say. So I'll say, I need a kidney. And can I borrow one of yours just for about 30 years, and then I'll be glad to give it back? And that's just my way of approaching it. So it's a little bit more lighthearted. So if they just giggle and don't say anything, I usually know, don't continue down that road. But if they kind of giggle and then go, do I have to be your blood type? What's your blood type? Then I can start having some conversation with them around it. And I say, if you have more questions, either you can come and talk to me directly about it, or you can go to the transplant center and talk to the living donor. And then that way you might be able to feel more at ease talking to someone else rather than just me, like maybe you don't want to disappoint me, or maybe you have some questions that you would hesitate to ask the person who needs the kidney. So you can send them directly to that person, and then they can have that conversation with them. And it might make that person who is thinking about donating to feel more at ease. So, other ways that I have attempted to grab people's attention to get them to want to give their kidney to me when they don't know me is several different ways. I have been very active, and the things that I've done, I'm going to share with you. And some of the things have worked to get people to say yes and to go through getting at least the first, it's not the set of tests, but a questionnaire to see if they could even give a kidney to anybody. Because there's a list of things that automatically would kick them out if they have an infection, if they're pregnant, if they have cancer. There's a whole list of things. So you can get that through the transplant center for specifics, or you can go online and learn about that. But that's important for you to know, not only your blood type, but what qualifications, because that's what they have to start to fill out. And if you already know that they say they have cancer right now, or they have an open wound on their foot and it's infected, automatically don't even have them fill out anything because it has to be taken care of first. Some hospitals are more lenient than others when it comes to kidney donations, as far as age or medical conditions that the person may have. So also think about that. From the two places that I was trying to go to get a kidney, there was a little bit of difference from one place to the other. And usually you want to get on more than just one list when you're trying to get a deceased kidney. If they're in different regions, it works out differently where they're getting their kidneys from within America. It's by regions. So you can talk to the kidney transplant center as far as that goes. And now there's something called microsite, and it's through the National Kidney Registry, I believe, and or the National Kidney Foundation. I forgot right at the top of my head. However, that's an unusual thing because not all of the transplant centers are aware of that. And what that means, it's somebody who wants to give a kidney, but not necessarily to a specific person. So you go on the list on the registry, and then microsite, when a kidney comes up and somebody says, yes, I want to donate this kidney, and they've gone through and they know that they can at least donate a kidney. Then they go through the registry to see who adds up as a good candidate for that kidney. And you may get a live kidney that you don't even know the person. You haven't even asked them. They called me one time. I had just had nasal surgery because I was snoring at night and I felt that that was giving me problems sleeping. And I had a deviated septum. So the day before I had the surgery, they called me the next day and they said, we have a kidney that possibly could be for you. And I had to decline. They made me decline because I just had surgery. So think about that. Whenever you have surgery that is a little bit more elective, is it worth it at that point in time when you're trying to get a kidney to go through that surgery? Now, for me, it was because with my deviated septum, I thought it was making it harder to sleep at night. And then I also had my eyes done, and you can't see it anymore, but my vision was actually getting worse because the eyelid was coming down and covering some of my eye. So they go through special testing to see that if they do a little bit of a tuck here on the eyelid, will it open up your vision sight because the skin won't be coming down as much. And then there's another procedure that is more considered plastic surgery where they lift up everything. But insurance will cover if it's giving you a problem with your vision. And for me, it was even affecting my posture with my head in order to be able to look at things because my eyes were more closed all the time because of that extra skin. So these are just all things that I've gone through that you may want to think about when you're looking for a kidney, when you're seeking a kidney, things that you might want to do or put off, those kind of things. So how did I go about trying to get a kidney, right? There are so many different ways. I have tried a lot of ways. It's not the only way. Think outside of the box, get creative, go to lectures, workshops, informational things through the National Kidney Foundation, wherever you get your resources that are quality resources, and see what lists, other people have done. Or if you've joined a support group and other people have gotten kidneys, ask them how they did it. So some of the things that I've done is get car magnet signs that says Beth needs a kidney with my telephone number. That can be a little scary, right? Now your telephone number is out in the world. So if you have like a business line, you might want to put the business line on there rather than your personal cell. Be cautious, be safe about it. But for me, it was worth trying to get a kidney. And I did have a few people that would see those signs as I would be going down the road and did actually call me. Now, none of those actually signed up to try to see if they were on that first level, could they even donate? But people would call and ask about it. So that was helpful. Then I put yard signs around. And I'm going to tell you some funny story about the yard signs. Again, all over Charlotte, southwest, east, going up to Hickory, I put out yard signs. Beth needs a new kidney. Again, my telephone number. So I get a text from somebody, a gentleman, and he goes, "You need a kidney? I'm willing to give you a kidney right now. Let's do it." Slow down. It's a process. And that process, just to get the paperwork sent into them saying they received it, to be done twice. So sometimes you want to get the living donor coordinator involved in the process because they say that the paperwork hasn't gotten here. The paperwork got lost. Please send it again. And that gets frustrating for the individual who wants to give you a kidney because it's time sensitive. So finally, he got a letter in the mail that said he couldn't donate. Texts me, "Beth, I don't understand why I can't give you a kidney." This one doesn't have it. Darn, I was going to say this one might be a little, maybe this is, no, that's not it. Might be, where was I? Oh yeah, I don't know why I can't donate. I eat well, I don't drink, I exercise. And I said, "Well, did you ask? Because I'd want to know why I didn't get a kidney." And he goes, "No, I didn't really ask." So I thought that was the end of the discussion. 5 minutes later, I get a surprise text back. "Do you think it could be because I have that bullet in my lung, Beth?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think you need to keep all your organs." Yes. And always people want to know the story, how the bullet got there. I'm not a person who pushes people to give you a lot of information, so I didn't inquire. I just thought it was a funny story. Then another lady saw my kidney sign out and she's texted me, "What recipe do you need? What kind of kidney beans do you need?" And I thought about it. I'm like, I don't know who would be calling me about a recipe. So I sent her a text back. "What recipe are you talking about? I don't remember putting anything out there in the world that I needed kidney beans for a recipe." She sent me a note back. "Beth, I thought you were with a food bank. I thought you needed a certain brand of kidney beans and I was going to get it for you." And I chuckled. And I said, "No, ma'am, I need like a real kidney." That was the end of that discussion. However, those yard signs did get me 3 people to at least investigate if they could even donate. One was too fluffy, too heavy, and had to lose weight. And the other one had some medical conditions that she couldn't donate to anybody. But at least it got it out in the world, and I did have some success with that. So, other things that I've done, I've gotten in the paper. Now, for me, it was in a local paper, but they did an article because how I was going about trying to get a kidney was a little bit different than some other people. So they put that in the paper. I got on Spectrum News here in Charlotte because my friend and I were doing a talk for the National Kidney Foundation at an event. And the news came because somebody from the event called the news. And I was actually on the news expressing my need for a kidney and a few other things. So that way I was actually on the news, on TV. It was a local station, but yeah, that was great. So any way that you can use social media, written auditory, get it out there. Come up with a good story, call people up, get the journalists. If you know somebody who knows somebody in the news business, get them to help you out. What is the best way? And I think I heard Twitter from some of my relatives was the best way to get their attention. So there's that. Other things I did. I had workshops where I had one of my friends for different things, like I think yoga, Zumba. Oh God, what was some other things? Yoga, Zumba. What's the dance? Another dance. But anyways, so my friends would put on workshops and then it was love donations. And then if people wanted to learn more about kidneys, kidney donation, they could come to me afterwards and then I would have a conversation with them. So I didn't actually put on the workshop. I was in the workshop, but a friend did that as a favor for me, which is a fabulous way to give, right? Instead of maybe giving me money towards a kidney, those kind of things. It was a service that they provided for me. Other things that I did is I sent letters to people and basically like a love letter to somebody to really get them to see where I was and how a kidney would advance my life moving forward, making it better, be around longer for my loved ones, for my children. So you can always use letters. You can always call people. You can always talk to them directly. You can text them, anything like that to get the word out. Other things I did was social media on Facebook, mostly on Facebook for me, but you know all the different places you can go, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all these different things. Depending on what age group you're in, you might be prone to use one social media site compared to another one. I was using Facebook a lot, and I would put my story out and why I wanted a kidney. Now, also, there was some other sites that helped me get a site for myself to tell my story. And one of them was the National Transplant Foundation. And that was different than putting it out on Facebook with a fundraiser like a GoFundMe, because if you do it on Facebook, if it's still the same as it was before, that money that people sent into you for cash towards a kidney transplant is taxable. But through the live living donor coordinator at one of the transplant centers, she helped me set up a site through the National Transplant Foundation where I would have my own site, my own profile that I could use and put out on social media sites. And that was very helpful. And that was tax deductible. So that was always something that I would tell people, that this is tax deductible. So not only will you be helping me obtain my medicines and pay for some of my medical bills, since I was on disability and couldn't work, my funds were very low, that they could help me out that way and get tax deductible money, which people love to hear, right? So that helped me, that helped them. And that was very, very useful having that information out. Through microsite, there was another site that I did trying to get a live kidney donor. And when these people see your picture, they can relate to you and you tell your story. If it's a grabbing story that grabs their attention, I call it a love story. My girlfriend does that with her coaching program. She calls it a love story, love letter. Have them show what you're going through and what your life could look like if and when you get that kidney. And they generally respond to that. Then you can go to different organizations to try to get the whole group involved, or the whole group to put on some sort of event that people would raise money through donation base. Some people do like a festival. Some people do a fun run, all these different things. The church is another great place because church is all about community, helping one another. That's a great place to start. If you are already going to church or decide to start going to church, then there's another community of people that generally want to help one another. And if you can get in with a church group, they generally will help you out trying to get you donated funds. trying to think of other ways right off the top of my head that I tried to get the word out. Those are some of the main things that I did. Use social media, use the news, use radio, anything that you can use to get your story out and talk to everybody and anybody. And when you talk to people, especially relatives, they may say, yes, I will do this for you. And yet they're hesitant and they will not tell you. So they may not follow through with that first letter that they have to fill out and send back. What response I have for you with that is everybody has their own story, what they feel comfortable with, what they're willing to be upfront with you about. And I never had any problem when relatives said, no, I cannot do that. I didn't even ask them why. They did not have to explain to me. They could if they wanted to. There was one relative that I won't name, but I will just tell you the story. That when I first knew I needed a kidney, she came to me right away and she goes, Beth, we love you. And everybody in the family will be willing to give you a kidney. And I'm for one of them. And at that point in time, I wasn't ready to even hear so much about dialysis or transplants or anything. I had my head in the sand and I had different opinions about all this that I'm going through now for other reasons. And I'm not going to go through a story about that right now because this is not what this topic is about. So at that time, I wasn't ready to have that conversation. So when I finally was ready and I had accepted, I was aware of my diagnosis and I was in acceptance that I was doing dialysis and that I needed a kidney transplant. I went back again and asked. I wasn't ready then. I'm ready now. Can we have a conversation? And she said, no, I'm not willing to do that right now. So I did not ask her any questions. I didn't say, why won't you do that? You said you do it before. I just said, I hear you. Thank you. And that's her business if she wants to give me a kidney or not. She doesn't owe me an explanation. And I still love her just the same. It's a big ask and a big give if they do it. Now, that's just me and how I deal with things. You may want to inquire. Some people want to use tactics, and I won't say what kind of tactics, but tactics to really try to get the person to say yes. I would rather have the person say yes out of their own heart and goodwill for other human beings than pressuring anybody in this world to donate their kidney to me. Because in the end, when it comes down to it, when you're going to get a transplant and you have somebody who's willing to donate, they will ask the donor 20 million times, has anybody manipulated you, coerced you, told you that they pay you a monetary fee, that they would do you a favor if you gave your kidney to them? And if the answer is yes to any of these, they will not have that person go through donating. Now, with my kidney site, even here, the Best Kidney Support Group, I'm cautious in who joins the group because I had one young gentleman and he was outside of this country. And I asked him politely, so what is your interest? Do you have a relative who has kidney disease? Do you have kidney disease? Are you looking to seek a kidney transplant? Guess what his answer was? Beth, I'm going to see if somebody will pay to get my kidney. I need money and I'm willing to give my kidney to someone if they're willing to pay me in monetary fees. I politely told them that was the end of the conversation, that that was illegal in America and they could not join the group, and I blocked him. Another person also through the group, I think it was through the group, yeah, wanted me to compensate them somehow. Not necessarily in money, but in other ways. I can't even remember what the other ways were. I will give you a kidney if you do such and such, or if you give me such and such. Again, I'm like, no. In America, that's illegal. They will take me off the list. I don't know what will happen to you if they find out that you're inviting somebody into conversation about some sort of compensation for your kidney. Block that person. So when you're dealing with the public and you don't know who you're dealing with, find out what their motivation is and make sure they're not saying, if you do this for me, if you give me this, I will give you my kidney. Because another thing, it's not illegal. It's not only illegal, but let's say they say $50,000 for my kidney. You wire them the $50,000. Well, do you think that you can go back and say, well, I gave you that money, so give me your kidney? And that bill be legal? No, it could be a scam. They could walk away with your money and you have nothing. And you can't go to the law because it's illegal, right? So whenever you're seeking donations of funds, when you're seeking donation of an organ, be cautious who you're dealing with. Know this person is legit. Realize if you put your telephone number out there, that's everywhere, right? Even your email, if you put your email out there. So think about how you're going about this, best strategy, get the living donor with your transplant center to get involved and educate yourself. Educate yourself. What do other people do to get a kidney donation of funds or an organ? Start checking out all different sites. Research on the computer. There's books that talk about it. There's support groups that people talk about. There's some specifically for transplanted patients or people who want to transplant. There's specific ones just for dialysis patients. There's some that is across the board. Now, if you haven't been involved in my support group, Best Kidney Support Group, mine is a little bit different than a lot of the ones that I've been involved with. I am a physical therapist. I am a certified yoga instructor, and I am what's called a Reiki master. So I have skills in the healthcare field. And I'm also very spiritual in nature. So some of my beliefs are different than other people's in other support groups that are more mainstream. So for mine, you have to see the glass as half full or refillable. If you are a complainer and you just want to complain and not improve your life, just to complain, I would suggest that you can go to other groups that you're better suited for, that you're not coming into my support group. Now, if you want to vent, that's one thing. We all need to vent. If you have kidney disease, my Lord, all the stuff that we go through, all the symptoms we have, how many years have you had it? Is it a new experience for you? We have to vent, right? We're humans. However, I don't want somebody who complains consistently. Now, if something really happens that is way off, like I was at a hospital and I had my fistula on this side. And no matter how many signs, how many bracelets I wore, they got an IV in one time on me. They would try to take blood pressure cuffs up by the fistula, and they tried to do blood work, stick me with a needle to get blood on that side. This was at a hospital on a renal floor that I should have known better, and they didn't. So now I have a sleeve that I put on that protects me. It's red and it says no sticks, no IVs. That helps. So that was something I complained about. You better believe I complained about that. So other people would be aware. And then my support group also talks about naturopathic medicine, alternative medicine, and what other cultures do for kidney disease and with transplants. And what I've learned with that topic is a lot of the medicines that we use in America and a lot of the surgical procedures are the same across the board in this world. No, not everything, but basically it's all science driven. And a doctor in India and a doctor in the States will use a lot of the same protocol. However, even from one state to another or one facility to another, they're going to have different ways of doing things. So think about those things too when you're joining a support group. What regulations and policies they have? What are you allowed to speak about? Even in my group, if somebody has some knowledge about something and they want to share their business, I don't mind if they think it might help somebody. They can say, I'm an herbalist and I know about kidney disease. If you want to learn about herbs for kidney disease, please reach out to me. Now, I always say one caveat when it comes to any information. If it's something that you're going to ingest, whether it's an herb, a supplement, a medicine, off the shelf, talk to your team before you take it. It might have side effects. It might not be good for your kidneys. It might conflict with some of the medicines that you have. Exercise. If you have not been doing an exercise and somebody suggests that you go and do this type of exercise and you've been a couch potato or you haven't been lifting weights, but you've been walking, talk to your doctor. Make sure that's indicated with your specific medical history and condition, right? It's just common sense. You know, if I had been a couch potato and then all of a sudden I said, I'm going to run a marathon, do you think that would be good for me with kidney disease? Hell no. I'm not saying you can't, but you need to make sure that your body can take that extra stress, especially if you've been a couch potato and you haven't been doing any exercise at all. Start with breathing exercises. Go learn about yoga and breathing exercises. Deep breathing. Just that alone can make a huge difference. Tai Chi. If you can't stand up and do Tai Chi, did you know you could be in a hospital bed and do Tai Chi lying down flat in a hospital bed? Tai Chi. Do you even know what Tai Chi is? Go find out about it. So if you are bedbound, that doesn't necessarily, you can't do some sort of exercise. When I was pregnant, I was bedbound, but I still stretched. I did light, like 1 pound hand weights with my upper body, and that was fine for me. However, I had to do it lying down and not standing up. I wanted to keep mobile because I knew that for the months that I was pregnant and not allowed to basically get out of bed and sit upright or walk a lot, that my musculature was going to go down and I was going to get atrophy and my flexibility would go down. So I knew as a therapist, at least I had to do what I could without putting myself at risk or the baby at risk. So always go to the doctor before you do something new, whether it's supplements, medicines, over the counter, changing your diet, or any sort of exercise, right? That's so important because if you don't follow what they want you to follow to be on the transplant list and to stay on the transplant list, they can make you inactive and take you off the list. And if you've tried so hard to get on the transplant list, I'm quite sure that's the last thing that you have on your mind is you do something, you take something, and it takes you off the list. So God, forbid that that would happen. Educate yourself and let the team know what you're planning to do. I'll tell you one story about this that happened to me. I think I'm educated. I'm a physical therapist. I always let them know what I'm doing. I started to take a medicine that was over the counter thinking it would help me with my restless legs and was sleeping. Come to find out, I had been to the emergency room 4 times because I was getting so sleepy during the day. I was driving and almost falling asleep behind the wheel. And I said, I can't do this anymore. I have to take the transportation bus to and from dialysis because sometimes I'm not safe driving. That was hard. Then I figured out, oh my God, I didn't tell the team I was taking this medicine. I think this medicine is making me this sleepy. So I quit taking the medicine right away. And as soon as I got to dialysis, I said, guys, I have to tell you something. I said, I think I figured out what's been going on all this time and why I've ended up at the ED 4 times over the last 2 months. And they looked at me with surprise because they know that I know I'm supposed to tell them, and I follow the rules. And that time I didn't. Went to the ED 4 times, wasn't driving because I was silly and not let them know what I was doing. So it's so important you let your team know. So I think that's the information that I have that I can share with you as far as receiving a donation of a kidney and funding for your kidney when it's transplanted and for your medical expenses and your medicines. So today, I don't think we have anyone on this recording with me during this support group session. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to post this on Best Kidney Support Group so you can go back and listen to it as a replay. And if you do go back and listen to it as a replay on my site, please indicate below replay, watched replay, and you can always have some communication there. You can always ask questions, make comments. You can always reach me. I give you information on how to reach me if you want to talk to me directly about your situation. And I will provide you with as much information as I can. On a personal note, I am not a doctor. I am not a nurse, so I will not go down that road. I have a board of ethics that I have to follow when I am a physical therapist, that I don't claim to be anything that I'm not. I would never do that in life. However, I will try to point you in the right direction and get you your answers or tell you where you can go to find some of those answers. So with that being said, I appreciate if you are out there and you are watching this recording. And I can't remember if I said it in the beginning or not, but I got a new kidney at Atrium at CMC in Charlotte, North Carolina, about a week ago on the 26th of August, 2022. This is me now, and this is about a week and a half out. I'm walking, I'm dressing myself, feeding myself, up during the day, taking naps, sleeping at night, good appetite, good mental state. I'm not depressed, I'm not anxious. I'm in a really good place, and it took a long, long journey to get here. My first kidney didn't work from day one, 3 surgeries at a different hospital in the Charlotte area, right outside of the Charlotte area. And basically, the kidney was dead from day one after they put it in me due to unforeseen circumstances. Back to dialysis right away. And last fall, they ended up having to take it out because there were complications from that dead kidney in me. And I was so glad that they finally took that out. This time they had to take out my polycystic kidney on the left-hand side to have enough room to put the new kidney in on the left-hand side. And in order to get that polycystic kidney out and the new one in, they had to cut me from my sternum down to my pubic bone. So boy, do I have staples in my belly right now that I can't wait to get out, but not too soon because I don't want that kidney to try to pop out. So they say about 3 weeks after you have your transplanted surgery, they will take the staples out. So probably in another, week and a half or so, I'll get the staples out. But you can see good skin color, good attitude. I feel great. And if you are going down this road of getting on a list, staying on the list, keep doing your dialysis. There is hope down the road. Keep smiling. I gave up giving up, and so can you. And have a great night. And I will let everyone know what the next topic will be. This is September. We'll have one for October, November, and December. And then I will be making my decision if I will continue this group into the new year in January of 2023. So please follow me. Please join the group. Tell your friends and family if they want to learn more about kidney disease, if they want to know how to support you with your kidney disease, any of those kind of things, definitely. The biggest thing with your family supporting you through dialysis, through transplants, is communication. Communication, what you need, what you desire, what you want, what the transplant team says that you need. Communicate, get them educated, have them go to the transplant center and get educated with classes, and communicate, communicate, communicate. Just because you've gone through the training and you know these things, that other person who is trying to help you may not understand, may not know how to help you. Express yourself and communicate. Communicate, communicate, communicate. So, again, have a great night, and we'll see you in October. Bye.